So this story, this goes back to when I was there for maybe 2 years at this point. I was at this department for maybe 2 years. And again, this goes back to police according to their experience. We got a call. There was a stolen vehicle. We find the vehicle. It's in this neighborhood. It's parked at a house, but no one lives in this house. It's actually a pretty nice house. It was for sale. And so we locate the vehicle, and it's like backed into the yard, but everything's like neat. It's like maybe someone's inside the house. So we find who owns the house. We get permission to check the house. We're getting ready to go into this house. I work night shift. I work from 6 p.m. to 6 a.m. So everything pretty much happens when the sun is down. So I'm in front of the house, and we're about to get ready to at least try and make entry. Now, think about this. If it's, 3 in the morning or even 10 at night, it's pitch black outside. So if you're inside of a house with all the lights off, then I can see outside of the house, but the person outside can't see inside. So if there's any type of light outside, then I can see you, or the silhouette of you at least. And so we're about to go into the house, just based off of the situation with this car being stolen. Let me say not stolen, where the car was taken away from somebody, and in the manner in which it was taken away, we were going in with guns out. So we get permission, everything's cleared, we have the okay to go. So I'm telling the officer that's with me, I'm going through the door first. And if you just put yourself in this position to go into a dark house, not knowing if somebody's around the corner with an AR, a shotgun, a Glock, whatever, and you don't know where they are, but they know where you are. Now you're making entry, something you do, right? So I have an officer behind me, and we're making our plans. We're going to strategically approach the door and, do our whole thing. So he pulls out his flashlight. And first thing he does behind me, turns his light on. So think about this. There's a light shining from behind me, right? It's coming from this way. And if you're inside the house is dark, can't see inside. But if you look outside, you see this 6'4", 240-pound police officer. It's clear as day now. So if you want to take a shot, he's a perfect target. So I turn around to him like, yo, what are you doing? Turn the light off. Like, what are you trying to get me killed? And when I noticed, when I turned around, he had his gun out, but his hand was doing this. He was petrified. It's just shaking up a storm. Remember, before I told you, police will police according to their experience. And I also told you, some officers still live at home with their parents. They've never experienced this before. Not every officer has any type of military training in the background or any type of tactical training. So some guys are just fresh out of school, and that's it. So this happened to be one of those guys, and he's scared. Now, I'm scared because I don't only have to worry about who's in the house, what they have, and what they could possibly do. I have to worry about who's behind me and what he may possibly do, like shoot me in the back of the head or something. That's pretty bad, pretty graphic, sorry. But that's the fact of the matter. So I'm wondering, like, okay, so this is not going to work. So I had to call over another officer that I had trained. Hey, you come and you go over there and you watch the corner to make sure nobody runs out the back door. Yo, you come with me. And so the point of me telling that story is, again, if a police officer ever tells you, I fear for my life, believe him, believe her. Because in a lot of cases, they do. And they do fear for their lives. And I'm not saying that to take up for the officer. Let me explain why I said that. When I first started into law enforcement, we had, it wasn't a ring. We kind of made our own, well, it was like an area at our training ground. and it was like kind of a made up ring that we had, and we had to put on boxing gloves, and only one person had on the boxing gloves, and that was the person who was actually just punching you in your face. And the whole objective of that was to, you had to kind of move, and go in, and if you got hit strategically, think of how to go in. We couldn't hit back, so we had to go in and get to the person hitting us without actually throwing a punch back. The point of that was this: it taught you, if you got punched in the face, it taught you, if somebody did something physically to you, your first reaction does not always have to be a gun. You have other things, like even, first we learned how to talk your way out of every situation. I'm not the biggest guy in the world, but I'm not a small guy either. But I will tell you this, even for not being a small guy, I never liked to fight. I want to go to work, do my job, and go home. That was it. All the rest of, hey, let's go out and make some rest, and this football huddle stuff that they used to do, I was never into that. I was always kind of the outcast anyway, but I don't care. I'm here now, so who cares? But it taught you that just because you got punched in the face, the world is not over. Learn how to recover. Don't pull out your gun and instantly start shooting someone. You probably don't even have to tase someone at that point. Learn how to get in and use your hands if you have to. And learn how to not even create that situation if it doesn't need to be created. So why even put yourself in that situation? But that, as time went on, those type of training events or practices were done away with. But the problem with that is you see more and more, just the shootings are just increasing. Why? Because people are coming out of high school and they don't know what to do. Okay, well, there's a hands-on situation. This guy just grabbed me. Now I'm going to pull out my gun and just shoot him. No, that's not the way. The training is horrible. Because in the academy, and I will have a full academy story just on academy, so I don't make this video too long. But in the academy, primarily what I learned is how to shoot and do defensive tactics. So you have people coming out of high school, and well, not necessarily high school, college, no life experience, probably never had a fight on the playground as a kid. And as soon as they have their first one as a police officer, probably got bullied in school. Yeah, there were some cops, I can assure you for a fact, they got bullied in school. I know this for a fact. But you have these same individuals who got bullied in school, probably never got into a playground fight before. So their first fight is on the police department. And so their brain panics, and then they end up killing someone that unjustly, and not trying to make this too graphic or gruesome, but I'm trying to give you the inside scoop. I really want to be as transparent as I possibly could be. But yeah, police according to their experience. They're going to do their job according to the way they live their life, according to the things that they know, the struggles that they've experienced. If they've never experienced anything, don't look for sympathy from a police officer who's never been through nothing in life, and you're going through the hardest time in your situation. So you have to know that, okay, I can sit here and scream at this guy or this lady all day long. They're not going to care. They don't care. They've already been trained, or should I say we were trained, that you're the enemy. In so many words, you're the enemy. So I expect you to scream at me. I expect you to call me names. I expect you to say I'm not doing my job properly. It's not even going to bother me because when I was in the academy, they told me you were going to say that. And so now it looks true to me. Bad training. I will go into details. So again, just everyday citizen, or if you're trying to be an auditor, remember, if a police officer says, hey, I fear for my life, just give him some space, because at that point, he's building or she's building a foundation of their self-defense, or how they're going to try and justify themselves shooting or tasing. So I know we're trying to get people to learn their rights. I know, a lot of people say, hey, well, just take the arrest. Also, make sure you make it home, okay? Because every cop is not, again, I'll say this, I don't share the same general consensus as everybody is. All cops are bad. I don't really believe that. But I do know this, there are some cops who want to use their weapons. don't give him a reason, and make sure you go home at night. Make sure you make it home. So again, police will police according to their experience. So don't always look for sympathy. If a cop does say, hey, gonna help you out here, whatever, there's a chance that he's probably experienced this somewhere in his life. And there's also a chance that maybe he didn't. There's always exceptions to the rules. I always say this though, the exception does not compare to the rule. So, maybe he didn't go through that, but he just felt generous that day. Who knows? But generally speaking, if a police has not had the type of experience that you're going through, they're not going to really care about what you're going through. So just make sure you remember that. Okay. As I told you guys, at the end of each one of these episodes, I'm going to answer a few questions. I have a few and I'm going to answer them. So if you have questions, make sure you click the link down below in the description section. It's in the description section. Also, I'm going to pin it in the comment section. So if you have a question, click the link. It's going to take you to a form. Just fill it out. I'll take a question. I'll make sure I'll do my best to answer it. So right now, let's get to this question. This comes from James F791. He states, in most jurisdictions, if a person kills a first responder, they usually get a higher sentence. Do you think the same should apply to the first responders if they kill another? Yes, I think if we're going to preach the message that we're held to a higher standard, we should be held to a higher standard across the board, even when it comes down to judgments. So if we're going into a court and the judge is going to issue a sentence, then yes, if a regular citizen gets 10 years for this particular crime and a cop commits the same crime, I think you should get 15 to 20 years. That's just my opinion. Why? Because you took the oath. You're the enforcer of the law, not the citizen. You're the one held to a higher standard. You're the one who's supposed to be the authority. So therefore, you have more of a reason not to break this law. We all shouldn't break laws. It's not what I'm saying, but you should be held to that higher standard, even when it comes down to receiving a more harsh sentence. Okay, and this next one comes from Viley J. Hopefully I said that correctly. Viley J. 6258. It states, I'm very confused. It seems silly to condemn the cop for speeding because it's so dangerous, but not chase a civilian because the danger involved. I would rather pay the price for someone trying to do the right thing as opposed to some jackass that's running late. The inconsistency of morality is killing the country. Well, I will say this to that, and that is referring to the first or the other, should I say, Cop Tales episode when I was telling the story about the cop chasing a vehicle, although he told dispatch he was not chasing, he's simply trying to catch up. And in that pursuit, the car he was pursuing crashed and the young girl, the passenger, died. So I would say this, it's not silly to blame the cop, because let's flip the scenario around. If a cop is chasing a bank robber and the bank robber crashes, or if the cop crashes into another vehicle and kills that person, the bank robber will be charged with that person's death, not the cop. Not the cop. In the state of Georgia, it's called felony murder. For example, I'll give you one more example. Two guys rob a store. The cashier pulls out a gun, defends him or herself. They shoot one of the guys. The other guy who lived will be charged with the robbery and also something called felony murder. Someone got killed during the time you were committing a felony. So if it will go that way for the citizen, it should be the same way for the cop. So again, we're held to a higher standard. So if you have a cop and that cop's policy clearly state you are not allowed to do this. The policy one stated that you can't chase this vehicle for if it doesn't fit within what the policy states. The cop ignored the policy. Secondly, you're literally speeding through the street because yes, the car is speeding away, but so are you. So if the speed limit is 45, you're doing 65, 70 to catch up with a car that you state that you're not chasing, but you're speeding. No lights, no sirens, and you're also ignoring policy. Someone loses their life, a child, a little girl for that matter. Therefore, yes, the driver is guilty of what the driver is guilty of, but so should the cop, because remember, you're held to a higher standard. Okay, this one comes from Mr. Chevyman 53. Abiyah, in your opinion, what is it going to take to turn the system around? Woo! You know, I'll be honest with you, I'm not sure it's going to turn. I'm not sure it's going to get better before it gets worse. I will take a shot in the dark and state the first you have to go to the root of everything. You know, if you want to get rid of a tree or a weed, you got to go to the root. The root here is the hiring process in the academy. You can't teach a bunch of police officers in the academy that the public, the citizens are the other people or the enemy, and think they're going to go out and make this great connection with the public. That has to change. You can't focus on the gun range or defensive tactics for 80% of the academy. That has to change. You have to focus more on Constitution. You have to focus more on the laws. Yeah, we all know the basic laws, the don't steal, murder, you know, those type of things. But we have to get more into rights, Constitution, and start training officers with the mindset of how do we go out, enforce the law, and also protect the rights of the citizens. Until that happens, system turning around or getting better, it won't. All right, guys, that's the end of this Cocktails. Make sure you hit the like button. If you enjoy the stories, make sure you hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. The next video I will be posting will have to do with, and it's another unfortunate story that I hate to tell, but it will be dealing with abductions. So you guys definitely want to tune into that. Not only do you want to tune into that for the story, but you want to make sure you can, you know, make sure that you and your family, you guys are safe, because this is something that's just it's just skyrocketing. So definitely make sure you guys tune in for that one. Hit the like, subscribe button, and until next time, I will see you then, and we are out.